Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. In today's episode, I wanted to give you a behind-the-scenes look at my new book that's coming out at the end of October called Your Journey to Visibility Workbook, and share a little bit, first of all, about why I'm doing it, why I'm putting this together and putting it out in the world, and what I'm really hoping you'll be excited about, how it's organized and how it's going to help you. I guess it was about a year and a half ago now. I was going out and speaking and talking to people about the visibility factor and joining book clubs where people were coming together and reading the book and talking about it. And some of the conversations that I had were questions about, could they get templates? Could they get different action plans that were on paper that they could write things out with? Or did I have a workbook and could I share it with them? So I think I had maybe 2 or 3 conversations over a month-long period, and I started to think, what is it that the visibility factor doesn't have that they need? And so if I look at what the visibility factor has to offer, that was intended to be a foundational understanding of what visibility is, why it's important to your career, what are the things that could get in the way and hold you back from being visible, like imposter syndrome or limiting beliefs that you might be holding on to, or past situations where you had some fear around something. I wanted people to start to understand that and be able to recognize that they could move through that and past it by putting together a plan that was laid out in the book with hundreds of ideas that really tailored to their strengths and would allow them to pick from different levels of beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and actions that they could start taking. So all of that was meant to have the conversation about visibility and why it's important. I thought, how can I build something that is not exactly like the visibility factor, because I already have a plan in there? How can I help people take this to the next level and learn more of the how-tos, how to apply some of this in a better way or a bigger way for them so that they can start to see results faster? I thought if I could create a workbook that allows them to capture their plan, capture other things, then wouldn't that help them? So I started pulling things together. I started really thinking about, how could I build this workbook in a way that would be beneficial and not an exact replica of the visibility factor, but would have some pieces of the visibility factor included that would give you a foundational understanding of visibility and those types of things, just in case someone hadn't read the book. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. My process is to put Post-it notes on the wall and move things around and think about things I might want to teach you and how I would organize it in a way that really made sense. And as I went through that effort and then started working with AJ, my developmental editor, I went to her retreat, and it was a really good opportunity for me to start to hone in on what this could look like. And after going through a test drive process of the material and the workbook with some people and getting feedback on what worked for them, what didn't work for them, and I moved things around to flow in a better way that they felt was helpful for them. And when I did that, that was really a cool process because it allowed me to create a lot of frameworks for you, a lot of things that will make you think about your own visibility, where you want to go with it, how you add value, what kind of impact are you making, and how are you communicating. So let me walk you through how the workbook is organized. It's called Your Journey to Visibility for a reason. I wanted you to travel on a journey, and I wanted you to experience and think about where you've been in your career, where you're at now, and where you want to go. And so that is where part 1 starts. It gives you a framework to follow, to ask yourself some of those questions, to really dig deep into your past, your current experiences, and then also into what you want to create for yourself in the future. I feel like those are crucial things to understand. And when I coach someone, I'm going through that exercise with them. And so I was very mindful of writing this workbook with that in mind. How could I be someone
who's there with you, kind of coaching you, but from a workbook perspective. And I can't be there in person, but can I ask you the questions I might ask someone if I was coaching them? Can I walk you through some of the process that I go through when I'm helping people understand what's happened in their past that might be impacting them, or what's happening now that could be impacting them, and then helping them start to move forward? So that's part one. So that is a lot of fun. I had some really great moments, even doing some of the exercises myself and remembering things that I had forgotten, and spending some time doing that was really helpful for me. And I hope it will be helpful for you too. Part two is where we take a little rest in our journey, and we're going to go through some of the foundations for success. And these are the places where I wanted to spend a little time with you before you get into the next part of the journey. So in this section, we're going to go through some of the core foundational concepts from the Visibility Factor so that anyone who hasn't read that book will have an understanding. Even if you have read the book, though, I've included a bunch of new things, new stories, new exercises that are not in the Visibility Factor. So it's going to be really beneficial, even if you have read the Visibility Factor, for you to go into that chapter with an open mind. Because even though there's some things that will feel familiar to you, there are going to be new stories, new exercises for you to do, new activities for you to really focus on. So the next two sections in the Foundations for Success are focused on your personal brand and also on your value, how you see yourself. And I put together a lot of different things for you to assess yourself, for you to answer some questions, some great new frameworks in there that you can start to leverage and start to use quickly. In part 3 of the workbook, you're going to actually focus on assessing yourself and where your challenges might be with visibility. And the first chapter in part 3 is going through an assessment of the challenges that you might be facing, looking at it from 3 different perspectives and having you identify which ones apply to you. And it's just a way for you to start to open your mind up to challenges you might be facing that you didn't realize, but also for you to have something to look at and start to act upon. So for each one of those challenging paths that you might have, there's also a solution path that goes along with it. I walk through client stories all the way through those solution paths so that you can follow along with someone who's actually been experiencing those things. I have found it to be very beneficial to share stories and examples with people. It helps people relate to their own situation when they can see someone else is going through it and how they navigated through that. I'm really imagining how people are going to use it as I'm doing it myself and looking through it. And I'm so excited for all of the different things that I put into it. This gave me the opportunity to be more creative, to make it a fun journey for you. I call it a choose your own adventure. I love those books when I was little. You can pick which solution path you spend time in. You might want to spend time in all 3 of them, picking different parts of it. It's your choice. It's going to inspire you to start to think about how you can make shifts for yourself using some of these tools, frameworks, exercises, and examples, how you're showing up more strategically with different language and helping people see different things from you than you've been able to show before. The core message of this workbook is really to help people understand that you don't have to change who you are as a leader. And I think a lot of people think that they do. All they have to use is different language, different words, talk about things differently, show up differently, be prepared, plan, have some intention and consistency behind what they do. That's what makes the difference. That's what increases your confidence. And then people can see you and you can see yourself differently as you go through that. So I'm so excited for this workbook to come out. I cannot wait for you to use it. I'm really hoping that we can move it into some companies and get entire teams to start using it. Imagine if we could get everybody in a place where they felt completely comfortable being more visible, speaking up, sharing their ideas, and talking about the things that they've been holding on to for a long time and haven't felt safe enough to share. I really want to change how people use visibility to help them be more confident, not only in their professional lives to get opportunities, but also in their personal lives. And imagine that you feel really comfortable to have what you want, just standing in your own power and asking for what you want. Wouldn't that be amazing? So I'm so excited for this to get out. You'll hear more and more about it, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of insight into the workbook and what I hope it accomplishes for everyone. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.